Hello? Hello?
Podcast Network Asia.
Hey guys, welcome back to Small Talk, Small Conversations with Huge Impact. My name is Alec Cuenca and I'm your host. And before anything else, I would like to greet each and every one of you. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time, then I hope that you learned something from this episode. And if you like this one, then go ahead and check out the other amazing episodes because they have a lot of insights that I know that you can learn from. And excuse me, if this is your end time listener to the podcast, if you are an avid listener of the podcast, and welcome back. I am really happy that you're still here listening to the podcast and joining me on this journey to self improvement. So, today's episode, we are going to talk about the power of small wins, or basically why you need to celebrate small wins. This is a very interesting topic because if you guys don't know, today marks the second anniversary of the podcast. It means that we're doing podcasting for 2 years now, and it has been a full circle for me. And I just finished my first batch of the Podcast Academy. If you guys are listening, if my students are listening here, then I hope they learned something from this episode. And congratulations on you completing the course. And there's just this one student who emailed me afterwards, and she said that the best insight that she got was when I said that getting started is more important than being perfect. And I believe every single word of that quote because if I didn't start my journey on podcasting, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't see how life could be this great, how many people I can connect with, how much money I can earn, by just doing the thing that I love doing, which is talking to you guys and sharing my truth and sharing my message. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't start. So before we actually talk about why we need to celebrate small wins, we need to understand that we need to start working on our dreams, even if we don't know the possibilities, even if we don't know how we could become like the best one in the area that we're working on. Even if we don't know how we would do it, we need to start because we will learn a lot of things along the way. And I could recall when I was just starting, I had like 5 or 8 or 10 listens every single day. And in my first month, actually, I had 46 listens in total. And I was really happy with that because I said that if there was one person who was listening to the podcast, then I'm good with that. And if I didn't focus on that small win that I had, that I added one more person to listen to the podcast, I wouldn't be here. I would have gave up on this podcast thing because the numbers are not really doing well, and it's really hard when you're in the process of you're trying out this new thing. Even if you're working on your passion, it gets really hard because you'll see that there's very little very no to little people around you that are supporting you, right? But as long as there was one person who was listening, I was okay with that. And that was the moment that I figured, I need to just start focusing on the small things, the small wins. Because I realized that growth is not linear. Growth is exponential. We think that success, when you add in one and one and one, and eventually you'll get to 100. It doesn't work that way. Growth is when you put in the maximum effort, try to get 1% better every single day. Eventually, it will compound and it will exponentially increase. Magugulat ka na lang, as I did, na after 2 years, my numbers are blowing up. And it's not like I went from 0 to 1 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 100. What happened with it is like it was 1 and then it was 2 and sometimes it was back to 1, 2, 3, 4 and then back to 2 and then it blew up. It blew up because growth is exponential. As long as you're putting in the work, as long as you're just focusing on becoming 1% better every single day, you will grow exponentially. If you become 1% better every single day, that's 37% better in a year. If you just run 1 mile every single day, you'll run 365 miles per year. If you read 20 pages of a book every single day, you will read 30 books in a year. And that just shows you the power of small habits. And if you're not going to focus on the small habits, you're not going to continue to do the things that you were set out to do, because it gets tiring, it gets exhausting, right? And this is where the power of small wins come. And this is where the power of small wins comes. And basically, there are 3 reasons why you need to celebrate small wins. First is you need to celebrate small wins because it makes you happy. Diba? When we think about the journey to success, we think of it as a straight line. Na when we set our goal, maabot na agad natin yun. But life doesn't work that way. Life will put us in different situations that will test us, that will challenge us. And when we're challenged, and then, for example, we hit a river, when we're trying to get to one place, and then there's a lake between, you're gonna go to try to swim across the lake. When you get to the other side of the lake, you still have a long way to go. If you're too focused on the big win, the big success, you want to appreciate that you just freaking crossed the freaking lake. And that's a win. Okay, and you will burn yourself out if you don't appreciate the small wins. So when you get past the small wins, you need to celebrate them, because it also makes you very, very happy. When I finish a webinar or an event that I host, or when I finish a podcast and I really feel good about it, I buy myself a pistachio ice cream and I eat it all by myself. I don't share it with my brothers or my family or my relatives. I eat it by myself. And it just makes me happy when I eat pistachio. So every time that I'm faced with another challenge, with another struggle, I try to remember that there's pistachio at the end of the road, at the end of the struggle. After this hardship, I will eat ice cream, and when I eat ice cream, I feel very happy. Not only did I overcame one struggle, I also am able to eat one ice cream. So you don't need to eat ice cream, but as long as you celebrate your small wins and you be proud of yourself, you tap yourself on the back and say, "I'm really happy for you." That releases a happy hormone in your body, and it becomes very addicting. And you don't want to go through the journey to success being sad all the time. You want the journey to be happy as well, diba? So you gotta celebrate small wins. The second reason why you need to celebrate small wins is it helps you become motivated. When you finish a small task, your brain then registers that, okay, you made progress. And when you make progress, your body knows that, okay, you can do this. Pala. When, right now I'm close to 100 episodes. And when I was able to reach 10 episodes, I said, wow, I think I could go to 20. And when I reached 20, wow, congratulations. I think I can get to 30. It keeps me motivated because I know that I can do that. My brain knows that I can accomplish the small wins. And when I feel that high after celebrating the small wins, I remember that feeling. And you need to remember it as well. If you just finished one small task and you got a small win, you need to remember that feeling because it helps you become motivated. You see progress, right? And when you see progress, you'll become motivated. If you don't see any wins and you're putting 100% of yourself out there, putting in the work and just putting it all out there, you'll feel burnout. You'll realize, I'm doing my best, but I'm still far away from my goal. You need to break your goal into small wins. And when you get to that small wins, you celebrate it. Because now you're going to be more motivated to do the things that you were set out to do. The third reason why you need to celebrate small wins is it helps you build your confidence. When you finish a small task, your brain knows that you are well equipped to do the other task, to finish the other tasks as well. No matter how hard it gets, you'll be able to build that grit inside of you. You will be able to become resilient. in the different challenges that will come into your life. And when you're resilient, when you have grit inside of you, you will keep going. And I've said this before, there are only 2 steps to success. First is show up, start. Second is you gotta keep going. But you can only keep going if you allow yourself to see progress. Okay? We all talk about trust the process, but you can't really trust the process unless you see the progress that you're making. And the progress is not necessarily a huge leap from your previous self to this better version of yourself. It can actually just you becoming 1% better. And when you see that you are 1% better, you'll become confident. Wow, I just did that. I just finished that. And now I'm more confident to do the other tasks because I know that I can. And it just goes into this cycle that your brain releases dopamine, and that you get addicted to just compiling the small wins that will eventually lead you to the big success that you are trying to get to. So those are the 3 reasons why you need to celebrate small wins. It helps you become it helps you become happier. The second is it helps you become motivated. It helps you stay motivated. And the third one, it helps you build your confidence. And my friends, I could not stress how important celebrating small wins is. If, this podcast episode is not enough, I just want you to know that, the numbers right now may look really huge for some, but I didn't really look at it as from me being an overnight success. I really focused on putting in the seeds and just watering them every single day and not worrying if it's going to grow, because I have faith in myself. I have faith in the work that I do. And I know that even if it just becomes a sprout, that is something that should be celebrated. Growth is not linear. It's exponential. So as soon as you see any kind of progress, you need to celebrate that. Okay? So that's it for this episode. I hope that you learned something from this episode. Let me know if you love this. Tag me on Instagram at Small Talk Podcast. Tag me at Small Talk Podcast. And I just love reading all of your insights. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, then go leave me a rating and review. And please follow me on Small Talk Podcast. I'm nearing 10,000 followers there. So please. Also, do not forget to follow this podcast if you like it. And yes, so thank you so much for listening. I hope I could see you next episode. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.